Abdullah the Butcher versus One Man Gang performed a big fat man stinkeroo ending in a lot of blood. Within the first minute, bleeding started to happen, and a double count out. This is the only match the crowd enjoyed because they both bled buckets. And there was a bit where One Man Gang just basically love tapped Abby on the head, like from there to there, and just like that, and that sliced his head in half, blood everywhere.
Well, this match wasn't too bad for what they did. Excuse me. Because it was working to both their strengths. That's what they do. They do brawling. And they did it good. And this match was probably the same match they would have in Japan. And it was controlled. And the fans may have liked it because at least it had structure. It had that. Then they count them out and let them go. Match didn't go long, did it?
Oh,
6 minutes?
Yeah, probably about 6 minutes, something like that. Do you know what? I've never asked you a story on One Man Gang. Am I thinking Crusher Broomfield or something like that he was?
Crusher Broomfield was the name he went under when he first broke in underneath Randy Savage.
What, Randy trained him?
No, Randy didn't train him. He's from Spartanburg, South Carolina. It's where he's from. But Randy started a territory up in Lexington, Kentucky, and Crusher worked for him. And I think Randy either gave him the name or he brought the name with him. So what question do you have?
Just general stories about One Man Gang. I've never asked you about him ever on this show, so I don't know when the first time you even met him was.
Well, I told the story that we worked that independent show for those two guys, right? And he went to work he went to work with this guy, and the guy wanted to be a wrestler, but he wasn't very big. He's like 210 pounds maybe. But his daddy had some money in this Mississippi town, I think. And he pissed off Gang. And Gang said, well, what do you want to do? He said, anything. He just blew Gang off. Don't tell Gang anything, because anything to Gang means anything. So they went out there and Gang, and he was the promoter of the show. And all his friends was there. His family was there. He's going to be a DQ anyway, I think. Gang whipped that son of a bitch from go to whoa. I mean, he laid it in. Oh, the guy said, oh, anything. And he says, lay it in. I'm hardcore. I'm okay. Gang weighed 400 pounds. And Gang could still go. I was watching it and I'm going, God. I was having trouble watching it. They had an old U-Haul trailer. They brought the ring in on it. They parked it inside the building. Gang threw him up in the U-Haul, threw him against the back of the trailer that you couldn't even see because it was, trailer was long in the back. Door was here. Threw him, and you'd have heard the sound. And then and then the next thing he threw him out, and you see him flying out of the trailer, and beat him like a drum. And they had to count out and come to the back. And I'm watching, and I go in the dressing room. I sit down, and I said, oh, God. And the guy comes in, and he's got a partner. They're all about 18, 19 years old, but they want to be big wrestling promoters. And Gang walked in, and the guy was crying. And the Gang says, good, man, thank you. Thank you. And I want to shake his hand. He said, man, why did you hit me so hard? And Gang says, well, you said lay it in. And he did say that. I heard him say it. And he just beat the crap out of him. And Gang looked at me and went, with a wink. So that's my story about One Man Gang. I was with him in Puerto Rico, and then he left there. And I heard later, I don't know if he got sick or something happened, but the last time I heard about Gang, he was working as a guard in the Mississippi State Penitentiary on death row. And I've talked to one-man gang since then, and I've never known anybody that worked death row. And I asked him, how is it? He said, it's the quietest place in the prison. Because those guys are not raising hell. They're probably thinking about where they're going to end up. And he says, it's pretty calm in here and he says it stays calm until they have an electrocution date. And then he said when the guy goes, he said it's loud. That's what they're doing. They're saying bye to him because they've lived with him for years, this particular inmate, and they take their cups and run it across the bars. He said, I don't know if that really happens or not. But interesting to hear about what goes on at death row, because it's always, I just always wondered about that. He didn't go to him. He doesn't go with them to the chamber, but he has them right up to they lead them those last 30, 40, or 50 steps or whatever they got to go.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few prison documentaries, Louis Theroux and so forth, but they always say you can go anywhere in the prison apart from death row because you don't want to get them excited. You want to keep them as even
you want to keep them
as possible. Yeah.
He told me that keep them calm down, keep them even tempered, because the murderers, rapists, they're the worst of the worst. And if you keep them calm down, you don't want anything to upset them. Anything, loud noises, anything like that, because they get upset. Then you got a problem. I don't know what kind of problem. They can't get out of the cells, but crazy. Let me say this. I would not like a job like that.
No.
Or maybe I could sit out there in the middle and tell them wrestling stories. They may have liked that, may calm them down. Maybe one or two of them may have been a former independent wrestler. Who knows? See, that's one thing about independent shows you don't know. When you show up to an independent show, if you don't know the guy or any of the guys in there, you don't know anybody. Hell, one of these guys could come in late and he just come from massacring his whole family, or robbing a 7-Eleven, or shooting a cop. You don't know, because you don't know what kind of people they are. So anytime I go on an independent show, very nice, very considerate, very polite, because the last thing I want to do is some guy in there's got a problem, and I say, get out of the way, and it's on. He don't care. He can make a name for himself for killing me, I guess. I don't know.
Do you think there's any way we could show heroes of wrestling in the prison? Because maybe after that, maybe they might just be queuing up for the electric chair.
That's a good idea. We need to present that to some states that still have capital punishment. We say, listen, guys, and I have thought of ways to kind of see, a lot of people are against capital punishment. They're just against it. They're for abortion, but they're against capital punishment. It's kind of a dichotomy there that butts heads. But we can say, listen, we can save you the trouble of going through all this. Is capital punishment humane? We'll take them down and we'll chain them to a chair, and both feet to a chair, but leave one arm open. I invented this, and we'll put a cyanide pill on a shelf within arm's range, and we will tell them that you got to watch this pay-per-view till eternity, or you can take that pill and leave. I would say within the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes of Heroes of Wrestling, the guy would say, screw this, give me the pill, boom, and they're gone. Therefore, you eliminate the electric chair, the capital punishment debate, and the guy's gone. Pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'd have like a button and like an anvil drop on him though. I'd make it a bit more Warner Brothers style.
You got to be humane. You have to be humane. If you drop it on their head, that's painful. But you take a cyanide pill, they just bubble up, then they're gone.
But
it's not you issuing. You're not pushing the button to do it. To start the transfusion.
It's nice to give them the option.
They're taking themselves out.
Mm-hmm.
See, and you have nothing to do with it. We said we give him an option. He could have lived.